So my name is Megan Campbell. By trade, I'm a board certified art therapist and a licensed clinical professional counselor. But I also own Rise and Thrive Wellness, which is a group mental health practice. And so own, supervise, accounting, bookkeeping, I do all the things, mom on the side a little bit. So we're a small private practice in Kankakee County in Illinois, and recently have just expanded to a second location. So we have social workers, counselors, and art therapists. And so we do private insurance, individuals, groups, families, couples counseling, and then we also have contracts with our local school districts to cover and help with group stuff in the school district as well. Not from here originally, I'm from Las Vegas. But I came to college here in Kankakee County and stayed and kind of got my master's and all that stuff. And when I first graduated, art therapy is a wild thing. It's a newer thing. People don't necessarily understand it the way that they understand social work and counseling. And so when I first graduated, being that this is a little bit of a smaller community, I was told that I could never work here as an art therapist. So I did a lot of work up north. I worked inpatient and residentials and kind of did all the Devil Wear Prada years of interning and all that stuff that you need to do to gain licensure and stuff like that. But eventually, my heart really was to return to this community. And so I eventually kind of got burnt out in agency work and was like, I'm going to start my own private practice. It's just going to be me. I'm just going to be me and my few clients. And I very quickly realized that this community has such a dire need for mental health services. And that was pre-COVID. So my business is about 8 years old. But I only grew it to a group practice in the last 2.5 years. So originally I was just kind of doing my own thing one-on-one, and then really having a hard time turning away people that were asking for help. We've actually used social media more as a how can we give the community that maybe isn't ready for therapy or doesn't have access to it, tidbits and information about mental health in a way that's manageable and accessible. So we've used social media more as a community, socially responsible thing, as opposed to get us more clients. So Revenue oddly actually sought me out. When I originally grew the business the first time around, when I was I need to do a group practice, right? There's overhead, there's furniture, there's all that stuff. So I originally had a different line of funding under your same umbrella. And so they reached back out to me, and I had already been thinking about growing a little further. And so I was like, it is time. And it worked out. They made it super accessible, easy. That is right. They made it easy and accessible for me to be able to have that in order to grow without kind of cutting other things in the business. We do have a lot of small businesses in our county. And actually people have asked me about kind of what has helped make your business successful. And I would say having kind of bare bones and a good business structure first, but that working capital is really important. So I definitely would recommend for people that do feel like they have a successful business plan. I know being an entrepreneur is a hard thing for people. And so cash flow is only kind of one piece of the puzzle. And so it was nice for me to know this is taken care of. It's easy, it's manageable, in a girl math way. The payment comes out. I don't have to think about it. I get notification. I don't have to write a check, right? I know it's all covered. And sometimes it's hard with funding and denial of claims or things like that. And so cash flow, while it is there and will be paid, is not always the quickest. And I want to make sure my staff and everybody is taken care of, as well as the expansion. And so for sure, Revenue has been really helpful in terms of giving me more access to liquid cash flow to grow, to help kind of in this next building journey. But I'd say that has honestly been kind of our biggest challenge, is really just keeping up with the demand that's here. Small business owners are really hard workers that often pay their people more and pay themselves last. And so I think a common misconception just about entrepreneurship and small business is that you're loaded. As we've expanded, people are you can donate to this and do this thing and pay for this. And I was like, that's definitely not what's happening. And I would say then more specifically in the mental health field, the biggest myth that we deal with too is that you have to be crazy to go to therapy. And that is not true either. It is about a self-awareness journey and good positive mental wellness and health Honestly, the best advice I've ever gotten is like know your strengths and know your weaknesses. And while you're starting a business, you feel like you want to do it all, but pay the professionals to do the things that you don't have a strength, right? Bookkeeping is not my strength. Peopling and supervising and building culture, that's my strength. So if I focus on that and I can shore up time, like pay the professionals, pay the attorneys, pay the people for the capital, pay like all that stuff shores up time to do what is my strength. And so I'd say most small business owners like know your strengths, know your weaknesses, and pay other people for their strengths to help kind of work together to make it successful. I think when in the beginning we all think like I can do it all. I can do technology and I can do, client intakes and I can do this and I can run the store and it's not feasible. So pay people for your strengths, know your weaknesses. That would be my biggest piece of advice. If you're in the mental health field, you know that like therapists aren't great business owners. And so I actually have my undergrad in marketing and was doing a lot of business work. And I enjoy that side of things and making it so that therapists can enter this work where they can make decent money and kind of manage their own schedule and not feel burnt out. And so that part of it is a passion of making a really healthy workplace for therapists to work to get a livable wage that is not burning them out to do the work with people that need healing. And so that's really kind of how that happened. And then it kind of blew up overnight. I had 6 to start. Right now we're 22 and about to grow by about 3 or 4 more in the next few months as well.